So the next talk that we have is essentially, this is pretty much a ritual that we've had since ONNX started and these meetups happen. In this session, essentially, what the purpose is for all of us to think and brainstorm on what the state of AI is today and the volatility we see, depending on what realm of AI we're talking about. It's just something that we never expected, right? When we started this journey, we thought that we understood what was needed. And now in 2025, a lot of lessons we have gathered along the journey that we are in. So this session, typically what happens is Imad from AMD was last year, shared a bit about what has happened in the last 7 years. And the credit goes to him in some of this stuff. He walked us down memory lane of when we started on the ONNX journey. There was Cafe 2. PyTorch was really not a thing here yet, or maybe it was in some academic corridors. I remember going to one of the PyTorch meetups, and maybe it was 2019 early or something like that. CNTK was a dominant framework. There was MXNet from Amazon. There was Paddle. A whole lot of TensorFlow was the dominant framework back in the day. Over a course of the last 8 years or so, we have seen some of the problem statements evolve. ONNX has made a tremendous dent in abstracting out some of the diversity in these frameworks and making interchangeability across different frameworks a reality, right? It has had a lot of successes on the course of this journey, and there are some areas where we are aware where improvements needs to be made, and we do hear from the community strong feedbacks also in that regard. This is also a time when we need to think that how ONNX needs to evolve. Like you heard from Mayank earlier today, you heard from Rama and Justin along the way, that what are these ideas in terms of ONNX 2.0 that we are trying to explore. I want to reiterate what you heard from them again, that ONNX 2.0 is really the beginning of something very important. It is a very important chapter in the ecosystem of these frameworks, and it's very important for us, all of us, to bring our collective mind share together to think how we want to shape up ONNX 2.0. ONNX, in its current form, is really a dominant format on exporting trained models and deploying them on the edge. It is the dominant framework if you need cross CSP, cross hypervisor operability. You want to get the best of different hardware devices. For years now, Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, ARM ecosystem, a lot of these companies and hardware vendors have invested heavily in ensuring performance support for the ONNX operators and graphs, right? So yes, for 1.0, I would say that non-Gen AI, ONNX has really made a huge impact. But we also know increasingly this is the new agentic world that we are heading into. What we are seeing is these explosion of new models, things like DeepSeek. There is Llama that we saw. We had the new reasoning capabilities from OpenAI that have shown up at test time compute. Some of these things have been really bringing Gen AI to the forefront, and we all are hearing this time and again, that ONNX needs to rise to some of those essentialities. We have quite a few members from the Gen AI working group, which will be speaking to us later in the day. That would be a time for some of us, all of us, to come in together and share where we think some of those improvements needs to happen, right? So I don't want to go into line by line of what you're seeing on the screen right now, but I would want to go into at least two relatively new directions that we are seeing. One is around how these LLMs or Gen AI models are essentially getting created in the PyTorch ecosystem. with the importance of ONNX and its deployments on devices, it's very important for us to also see what are new opportunities where ONNX could be relevant, could standardize some of the training elements that it is working on. And there could also be elements that are required in the agent space. So this is the kind of conversation I want to have with all of you. Feel free to interrupt me or ask questions as I get along, right? So to begin with, one of the, and Imad had really laid the foundation on this discussion too, and I would also want to credit NVIDIA for, I think Carrie Bransky, who Mayank works very closely with, she wrote a blog recently which, really captures this new trend very well, where you're seeing that for years, pre-training was the game in town. All you had to do was increase the number of parameters, essentially throw more data at it, right? Or even random data, and the GPT-3s of the world were coming, were beating all the records of accuracy. So this is a trend that we saw. You increase parameters, you throw more data, and then you'll achieve higher performance, right? But now we also saw that blind increase in performance started to taper down, and that led to the new advent of this post-training era where new reinforcement learning techniques, the DPOs and PPOs of the world have been able to make the next level of performance shown up without